Look, let's move on. And while many corporates are shying away from publicly marking Australia Day, to their own peril, it must be said, the Fawkner Property Shopping Centres Group is leaning right in. Chief Investment Officer and founder Chris Garnaut says he hopes Australia Day can be a source of unity after the Bondi terror attack, and is imploring other businesses to join him in proudly celebrating it. And a recent poll by the Institute of Public Affairs validates that move, finding the majority of young people don't want companies to allow staff to take an alternative day off to the Australia Day holiday. Chris Garnaut joins me now from Melbourne. Chris, thanks so much for your time. And this is so refreshing, I have to say. You've said you won't bow to woke corporate BS. Now, what prompted this strong stance from you?
Well, firstly, thanks for having me, Carolyn. I'm most grateful to be here with you tonight. I mean, basically, I'm an Australian and I run an Australian business and my customers are Australian. And if you can't celebrate your country on her national day and show her the ultimate respect and gratitude, when can you do it? The second thing, if you think from a business perspective, Carolyn, this is the second time we've run it, by the way. We ran it last year as well across our shopping centres. And I have never been in our shopping centres where the mood was so uplifted. And you think about it, the shopping centre, your local shopping centre in the suburbs and the regions, is actually the epicentre of the community. Everything goes on at your local shopping centre. We have sort of, 2 million visitors a week, so 100 million visitors a year to our assets. And it's all about making our customers feel comfortable. Our customers want to come and shop there. And we're in the suburbs. We're in the regions. We're in Gladstone. We're in Traralgon. We're in Wollongong. We're in Nowra. We're in the place where Mr. and Mrs. Joe Average is delighted to walk into a shopping centre and seeing an Australian flag flying absolutely loudly and absolutely proudly. And last year, the buzz around the shopping centres was huge. And from a business perspective, Carolyn, our foot traffic and sales on our Australia Day campaign were absolutely through the roof.
Look, it's good to hear, because I think corporates deserve to be rewarded for taking sensible, common sense positions that most Australians would have themselves. And, we often say go woke, go broke, and we've seen that backlash to corporations that have virtue signalled over this issue. So if there is this financial reward in it as well, why do you think so many corporates seem to be capitulating to the activist push against January 26?
I mean, I think that, the corporates are gun-shy on the minority. And at the end of the day, it's the majority of people that actually shop at our shopping centres. It's the majority of the people that are going to Coles, going to Woolies, going to Big W. That's who's coming to shop there, going to all the specialty shops. Like, even if you see the Australian Day merchandise this week in our shopping centres, the newsagents, the gift shops, everywhere, Coles, Woolies, Big W. They're all selling Australia. Australia Day, Carolyn, is seriously back in fashion. And unfortunately, in the most horrific of circumstances, what happened on the 14th of December, the first thing I said to my national head of marketing after the Bondi massacre was Australia Day this year is going to be huge. We're going to celebrate it bigger and better than we've ever celebrated it. Because if you cannot respect your country, the government's always talk about unity and all of this other stuff, right? And all these woke corporations come out with these punchlines out of marketing departments that actually don't happen at the ground level. But ultimately, if you cannot respect your country, you cannot respect then your community, you cannot respect your family. And you look at these families that don't respect each other, they're broken. You look at communities that don't respect each other, they're broken. You look at countries that don't respect their people, citizens don't respect their countries, they're broken countries. We have really been one of the greatest democracies in the world, and I see it as a corporate, I see it as an obligation of gratitude and respect, and quite frankly, Carolyn, good business sense, to actually celebrate and respect Australia and Australia Day. And that's the day to celebrate it. Like, that's the actual day. Whether you like the day being the 26th of January or not, you do not, Carolyn, have an alternative. You have the 26th of January or bust.
Well, no one has been able to come up with a good alternative yet that everyone seems to agree on. So that's moot. Look, I agree with you. And speaking of December 14, Chris, you were actually one of the first business leaders to push for a royal commission into the Bondi terror attack. You even created a website where Australians could call for one. Later, hundreds more joined the cause too and made their voices heard. Why was it important to you? And do you think now that the government's called one, you have faith in how it's actually been set up by the Prime Minister?
Two answers. The first one was, obviously I love the Jewish community. I've got so many Jewish friends. The Jewish community as a minority have contributed so much at every level, intellectually, morally, philanthropically. As a minority group in Australia, they are pound for pound one of the greatest contributors that this country has ever seen. And when that disgusting, filthy, disgusting attack, that massacre, whilst that was an attack on innocent Jewish people celebrating Hanukkah, Joe Average, Caroline, Mr Joe Citizen, saw that as an absolute attack on Australia. And I can tell you, when we started to run that campaign for business leaders, on that Tuesday that Alex Vincourt, a mate of mine from Peter Shares, started that, we only had 7 people. 7 on the Tuesday. That was after Christmas. By the Friday, there was 137, chairman of companies, chairman of banks, all the so-called wokies, they absolutely dusted the woke BS off and actually came. And credit to them. Yeah, you've got to give credit where credit's due. 137 of those senior business people came out. And that led, Carolyn, to the sports guys coming out then on the Sunday, the military and security guys coming out on the Tuesday, and then progressively through in and out the, Supreme Court judges, the barristers, etc., coming out on the previous Thursday. And by that Tuesday afternoon, when the military guys had come out, we knew Albanese was bust. We knew he was folded, he had to fold, the word was going around the street. And thank goodness there's a Royal Commission. I just so hope that the terms of reference will be just as strong and protective for the Jewish community. I really pray for that.
Yeah, look, really well said. Thank you as a member of the Jewish community for your support. And I have no doubt that it was voices like yours and other leading voices from outside our community that helped put the pressure on the government to actually take the right step and call a Royal Commission. Chris Garnaut, thanks so much for your time tonight.